last year we made a potato tower. The idea being that you start it low, and then as the plant grows up, you add more dirt, you add more boards, and as it goes up, it just makes you more potatoes, like 100 pounds of potatoes in a 20-inch by 20-inch space. That didn't really seem to work the way we had expected. All the potatoes stayed on the bottom where we planted them. There was a reasonable amount of potatoes, but they all stayed on the bottom. So this year, we're not going to build a potato tower, we're going to build a potato bed. How's that? So it'll be a short tower filled with the soil so that it can grow lower, but hopefully not end up with a bunch of rotten ones on the bottom, which is kind of what happened. It got a little too wet down there. So I'm going to use the boards from last year, and I'm going to make, instead of what was it before, like 11 boards high, it's going to be 3 or 4 boards high. We'll see how it goes, and hopefully that'll do a little bit better for our potatoes. So in thinking about this, I realized I have a whole bunch of that material left over that I made the bed out of, or not the bed, the tower out of. And some of them is long enough, or are long enough, that I could make the long runs in this new bed out of one piece instead of trying to splice some pieces together. So I'm gonna cut these boards to length. This length, actually, so that they don't have to be mended together, screwed together, and be a little weaker. And then I can help or work on getting rid of some of this old lumber that's around that I couldn't bring myself to part with because it's oh so useful. So as soon as I have a saw to do this with, I'm going to cut these to length. I can't really say the circular saw and I are very good friends. I watch some YouTube channels where they do a really great job with it, but I'm trying to befriend it, trying to learn how to be a little bit better with it. Practice makes better. Without holes or screw holes, this old wet lumber will split, or the screw will pull right through, so that'll help. I don't really have any plans on this. I just kind of making it up as I go and building it on these sawhorses. The wood is the old deck lumber, and trying to figure out how to build this thing on the fly, and don't really have a second set of hands, so you know, a little clamping here and there, getting things aligned. It doesn't have to be real precise. I continue to have to remember that this is just a bin to hold dirt, and it doesn't have to be real precise. It just has to, you know, kind of fit in the place that I've got to go. It's got to hold the dirt. I got to be able to transport it back there. So it actually went pretty well. I didn't have too many problems. A little bit of fiddling around to get everything to line up. It was real important, like I said earlier, to drill the holes so that the wood didn't split. It's been outside for most of the winter. And once it's all clamped together and screwed together, it'll be time to take it out and put it in the bed. Probably not the most conventional way to build something like that up on its end, but hey, seems to have worked. Now we got to put it in the ground. The place I'm going to put this, same place we had the potato bin last time, wasn't completely level, so I had to break up the ground and get it level, and then break up the dirt underneath it. And when I bought the dirt for the raised beds and for the bucket garden, I had leftover dirt that I put into these other buckets, and that's what I'll continue to fill it up with. And yeah, it turned out pretty good. I kind of wish I had a little bit more dirt, but I think this will be just fine.
So that was a nice afternoon project. Maybe it was more than an afternoon, but I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. Joan's pretty happy with the way it turned out also. It was nice to use up some more of the scrap lumber that I had left over from the deck rebuild, and got it full of dirt. Now we're kind of waiting. I think it's probably about time that we planted the potatoes in this, and we're pretty excited to see how well they grow this way versus in that tower. So if you want to see how this way of growing the potatoes turns out compared to the way we grew them last year, hey, how about subscribing, and then you can follow along with us. Anyhow, thanks for watching.